Hi little skeletons, it is Disney Queen Skelly here, and welcome back to Scary Disney Stories. So today we have an article that I found online, and it's actually a pretty good one. It's creepy stories from the Magic Kingdom. So technically not our Disneyland, but I guess a Disneyland. Well, I call it Scary Disney Stories, so I guess it doesn't really matter where it comes from, right? So anyways, let's get into these creepy stories from the Magic Kingdom. Creepy stories from the Magic Kingdom. Every Disney fan has heard their share of urban legends and spooky stories about Disney World. In fact, some of us have even imagined our own stories about a few creepy things we've seen in the parks, like the former creepy clown slide at the pool at Disney's Boardwalk Inn, or the gigantic evil grinning Jack-in-the-Box at Disney's All-Star Movies Resort. But nothing matches the tales that guests and cast members continue to share that revolve around Magic Kingdom. It is home to the Haunted Mansion after all, so it makes sense that guests have found some macabre inspiration to come up with scary stories about the most magical place on Earth. Here are some stories we've heard from cast members and guests. Ashes on the Haunted Mansion. So this goes beyond urban legend and is actually fact, as confirmed by the Wall Street Journal. Guests have brought the ashes of their deceased loved ones with them to spread throughout Haunted Mansion, and it happens a lot. Fortunately, one thing Disney is good at is cleanup. Custodians use HEPA filters on industrial-strength vacuums to clean the Haunted Mansion, which means clearly departed Uncle Harold is just going to end up in the trash. So think twice before attempting this. You might have aspirations of sending Grandma to rest at her favorite ride, but she actually ends up in a vacuum bin in the utilidors. But here's the thing. This is illegal. It's also pretty gross. Please don't do this. Please do not scatter human remains in Disney World, including the Haunted Mansion. Pirate George. The story of George the Ghost is very well known amongst cast members and goes a little something like this. When Disney World was working on the construction of Pirates of the Caribbean in the 1970s, a welder named George had a tragic death. Some stories have him falling to his death, while others have him crushed by a falling beam, and no one has confirmed that such a death has ever happened. But the story goes that the ride is now haunted by ghostly sightings and strange happenings if cast members don't do one certain thing. Cast members have to say good morning to the ghost of George every morning when they open the ride for the day, and good night when they close it down. If they ignore this, George will be upset and make weird things happen. This can mean that the ride malfunctions, doors will open and close themselves, phones might ring randomly in the control room, lights flicker, and more. George is generally regarded as a playful poltergeist looking to make mischief more than, be actually haunting people. Liberty Square Doll. If you're wandering around Liberty Square and see an old creepy doll in one of the windows there, just walk on by. Although there isn't a specific story tied to this Annabelle wannabe, cast members do often tell guests that they've seen instances where the doll will occasionally move or change positions without anyone touching it. Needless to say, that's a nope from us, but if you want to see her, look for the building that has a wheelbarrow and cellar door. She's in the window there. The reasoning for this doll is actually quite interesting. Dolls were often placed in windows in colonial times to alert firefighters that children lived in the house in case there was a fire. Interestingly, there's also a fireman's brigade crest on the building signaling to firemen that the family donated money and thus should be saved in the event of a fire. Come to think of it, that's creepy too. Skyway Death. You might remember long ago when the skies above Fantasyland were dotted with colorful little cars, the Skyway cars to be exact. The Skyway was a simple ride that took guests from Fantasyland, where the tangled restrooms are now, to Tomorrowland, and the area to the right of Space Mountain, and vice versa. This opening day attraction ran until 1999. Before the Skyway was officially shut down in Magic Kingdom, there were at least 2 incidents reportedly related to it, including one worker's death in 1999 according to the Orlando Sentinel. A custodian was killed when the Skyway unexpectedly started up while he was cleaning it. Disney was eventually fined $4,500 for a serious violation of safety standards. Several months later, the Skyway closed. Disney claimed the attraction was planned to close before the incident occurred. According to the Orlando Sentinel, a Disney rep said, "It's part of our ongoing efforts to phase out some of the older attractions and introduce new things to keep our parks exciting for our new and repeat visitors," while Disney World spokesman Diane Letter said Tuesday, "It's just something whose time has come. In reality, nothing was built in spaces that occupied the Skyway station for many years." The Truth of Alien Encounter. The next one is less ghost story and more might have done some lasting psychological damage. Some of us remember the utter terror of Magic Kingdom's extraterrestrial alien encounter. Yep, that was the actual full name, kids. The attraction was born of the idea to create something that appealed to teens and young adults, and yes, originally the ride was supposed to be based on the Ridley Scott Alien franchise of films. The Xenomorph attraction never came to be, never came to be, if you don't count the ones you saw briefly on the Great Movie Ride in Hollywood Studios. But what the attraction Imagineers came up with was still a bit much for Disney guests. When the attraction soft opened, guests complained that it was just way too dark, thematically and physically. After guests were herded into a scientific facility, aka theater, in the round, to witness a new teleportation device, they were informed that one guest in the room would be transported, terrifying if it was you they selected. A change in plans ultimately leads an off-planet alien to be transported to you instead, and now you and your theater of trapped guests are basically now guinea pigs being exposed to a captured and violent alien. Of course, the alien escapes and terrorizes guests. Not only that, it violently murders the technicians running the demonstration. Yikes. Then it comes after you, strapped in a chair, unable to escape in total darkness. Yeah, maybe that was a bit over the top, and everyone who wrote it can distinctly remember the fear the attraction created when the alien was quite literally breathing down guests' necks in the dark. Your harness was stomped on, you were drooled on, and you were growled and screamed at in pitch darkness. Warm breath breathed on your neck, tentacles slapped the back of your head, seriously, and simulated blood spray, warm water was splattered on guests, simulating your tech's death. It was a lot to take in and often resulted in hysterically crying children exiting the theater. Those of us here that remember it don't do so fondly. It was a trip. Eventually, Disney revamped the ride, made it all about Stitch for Stitch's Great Escape, and took all the frightening fun out of it. Although the hot dog burp still sends shivers down our spine. Now that ride, too, has been closed. Ghost Boy and Man on Haunted Mansion. And it's back to the Haunted Mansion for another ghost story. One of the most popular ghost sightings that isn't a part of the 1999 Happy Haunts is of a little ghost boy. Some claim to have seen him, while more commonly cast members and guests have reported hearing him crying. A guest even claimed to see a child staring at him from a doom buggy in front of him, when no child was actually there. A similar ghost boy is said to haunt the Disneyland mansion as well, but there are far more stories of that mansion than the Florida counterpart. Similarly, some claim to have seen an older man with a cane. He is said to be seen riding the doom buggies on the stretch of track between the offload and loading area. We get it, even ghosts want a chance to ride the Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion Spellbook. It makes sense that so many of the creepiest stories at Magic Kingdom revolve around the Haunted Mansion. What makes these myths extra tricky is that there are two mansions, well, more if you count international parks, and the stories can get crisscrossed. There's one story that says that the original spellbook in the Haunted Mansion seance room, supposedly in Disney World, is a real tome of witchcraft from the 14th century. Some believe it has actual spells in it and everything, and because of this, cast members have trouble keeping it upright, and sometimes it just vanishes. Rumor has it that the spellbook seen now is a replacement because the original caused so much trouble. The truth? It's always been just a prop created by Disney Imagineering. So these are some creepy stories about the Magic Kingdom that you can share over a summer nighttime campfire while making s'mores to scare your friends and family with. And we'll let you know if we hear any other creepy stories around the parks. Alright guys, so thank you all so much for watching. I do want to apologize if there was a lot of cuts in that. My phone, when I was reading the article, literally the article just kept jumping. My dog ended up barking. It was a total disaster, and I'm sorry if this video just does not seem as clean cut as my other ones. But thank you all so much for watching. If you've heard any of these creepy stories, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have your own creepy Disneyland story, let me know those in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, little skeletons. Stay safe, and I love you guys.